Yo, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was ain't open that mouth. Sure that she talking and open that mouth. If it say something, we blowing it out. And then it's something it out. And then it's got and it's part of this nothing.
And now from an undisclosed location, you are now tuned in to the Xander Effect with host Xander Dames.
the Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication right here on the Xander Effect. And welcome everybody to the Xander Effect. I'm your host, Xander Dames. Alongside with me are my two co-hosts, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jeremy Miller. How you doing, Jeremy?
Doing wonderful. Still fat and happy from Thanksgiving.
You see, and you see what a wonderful intro I gave you. How can you say I don't want
I know, it was so sweet. I don't know what's wrong with you. Are you sick?
This guy. I'm just trying to prove to you that I love you, man. I love you.
Oh, he's so sweet. What's he after?
Right?
Wow. Why you gotta put me on blast? Why you gotta put me on blast like that in front of our lovely co-host, Lonni Rivera? Lonni, how you doing? And don't listen to anything this man says.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm chilling. I'm actually trying to work off my Thanksgiving pounds.
There you go.
I'm not. I'm still trying to figure out if I could find any more. But that's just me. We got a wonderful show for everybody today. Got a few things to talk about in entertainment news, including a stalker that Steven Spielberg has. Very serious situation going on with Steven Spielberg, which is the first that I've heard of. I've never really heard anything like that off of Steven Spielberg having a stalker or anything, but that's the first. We'll talk a little bit about that. In sports, sad day in wrestling today as legendary wrestler Pat Patterson has passed away at the age of 79. We'll talk a little bit about that. In video game news, looks like the Xbox Series S can play PlayStation 2 games. We'll talk a little bit about that. But before all that, we got a little bit, haven't talked about obscure news in a little bit, and wanted to bring a couple of, actually, I have one topic, but Jeremy, you have a certain topic that you wanted to talk about.
I do. This one just hit me as rather hilarious, and it's being reported by multiple international media outlets, but I found it on Fox News. And British Airways is having a massive scandal and an investigation into reports that one of its Heathrow-based stewardesses is selling sex and her undergarments during and in between flights.
Nice.
Wow.
There's actual photographs of the flight attendants' risque advertisements on social media. The photos are very suggestive, apparently. She's posed in her uniform and on a real plane. So this is a real stewardess. $33 a passenger can be the owner of her underwear.
Wow.
Twice that will be a securing fee where a prospective client can meet her at a hotel in between flights.
Just for research purposes, I'm going to need you to send me over that link.
Yes, I'm sure.
I just want to research what's going on there myself.
Flying British Airways anytime soon, huh? Here's the kicker.
Talk about the friendly skies.
Well, yeah, here's the kicker. It gets even friendlier.
Oh, nice.
Passengers are also promised unspecified adult entertainment on board if the price is right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a brothel in the sky.
Essentially. And I mean, there's been rumors of this kind of thing on many first and elite class airlines, but it's generally BS. But this seems to be a real social media account of one of their stewardesses, and British Airways is taking it extremely seriously.
Wow. I mean, do you think that maybe the song from Frank Sinatra, "Come fly with me, let's fly away"? I mean, maybe that was kind of that would be a good advertisement. I don't know.
I think maybe she got a little overzealous with it.
Wow, that's a trip though, man. I mean, it's like it's another great way to advertise it is so you want to be a part of the Mile High Club? Well, here's your chance. Okay. That's
right.
It's pretty insane to think about.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it just sounds like that maybe she's really pushing for another career, because she had to have known sooner or later that they're probably gonna fire her. You know what I mean? They're not gonna keep her. So does she want to be infamous, and is she trying to build like an like a social media celebrity status, because sometimes just when people do just bizarre things like this, sometimes I think it's just to be notorious so that they can push something else. I mean, obviously,
it's very possible. I mean, I think you have a great perspective on that.
That's a nice perspective. See, that's why we have Lonni. That's why we have Lonni, because she's a nice one.
I mean,
but that's a great angle.
She doesn't want to sell sex. I'm just saying that she wants to be notorious, because no one would do something like that if they wanted to keep their job.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I think that's a great angle I didn't think of. The only thing, I mean, given everything's it's a private account, there's no pictures of her face, so they don't know who they're after yet. But that doesn't mean that this, she won't go completely public with it, knowing full well she was going to get caught at some point.
Right.
But on the other hand, we've had flight attendants for many, 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 many years who've gotten involved in many things. I mean, dating back to the 70s and the coke smuggling and, all sorts of different stuff like that. So it is a job that, attracts that type of, I'm not saying the people are attractive, but it's an opportunity where a lot can be done. A lot of lines can be blurred, so it can be people are going to be approached for shady stuff in relation to what flight attendants do. I mean, they're coming in and out of different countries. They're doing it. Just opens up a lot of shady.
Well, they're exposed to a lot of people.
Xander, I swear you are like a third grader back there giggling.
I'm sorry.
Because I said coming in and out of countries tonight. You are back there giggling like a junior.
I totally missed that one, man. Talk about your mom.
I'm sorry, man. When you said that, I was like, oh, so easy. Must not use play on words. You left yourself wide open for that. Wow. Yeah. Good times on British Airways.
Apparently.
Well, I mean, going from
pushing panties in the sky.
Yeah, pushing panties in the sky. Pushing panties in the sky.
I didn't tell you.
That's good. You know what? That would be a good slogan. British Airways, pushing panties in the sky.
Times are hard for the airline industry. Right?
Literally, apparently, times are very hard. Oh my God, just so many sexual innuendos. I need to stop. Actually, I can't stop because as a follow-up obscure news, looks like there was a super spreader at the annual Swingers Convention in Nolens called Naughty in Nolens last month, where basically swingers come from all over the nation, I guess, to this event, and more than 40 have been infected by COVID-19 and infected by other things, I'm sure, as well. I mean, COVID-19 might be the least of their worries, but according to TMZ, it seems that the 5 days of Naughty Nolens romp last month turned into a super spreader with 41 singers testing positive for coronavirus, according to one of the organizers. My question is will the organizers get sued for this? But I mean, you really can't sue somebody for something that they voluntarily went to at this point. I mean, or
I'm wondering if they probably signed a disclaimer or disclosure. What do they call those? Where you can't sue.
But that's kind of a thin line right there, because at the same time, they went there voluntarily. So like the moment they buy, I mean, you gotta understand, this is a full like orgy type of event, and 300 people attended to this. 300. That's like a super of everything spreader, not just COVID. But only like 41 tested positive out of the 300. So those numbers aren't so bad, so to speak. It's crazy because I mean, I don't think you could actually sue anybody for that because again, they went there voluntarily. The moment they buy their tickets, I'm sure they have some sort of a disclosure saying that, there is a possibility of STDs and blah, 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 but I don't know. It's just crazy to think that people actually still go to these events. And it's like, dude, seriously, you do realize there's a pandemic going on right now, right? Like, you can't keep it in your pants for like a little bit. I mean, the rest of us have. It's crazy. It's insane. I mean, I don't know. Am I alone in this? I mean, Jeremy, your thoughts? I mean, I really want to hear the thoughts.
My thoughts are, wow, shocking. I'm so amazed that a bunch of morons decided to get together and have an STD convention in the middle of a pandemic. And, oh, wow, shock of all shocks. A bunch of them got sick.
Right.
I'm just dumbfounded.
Well,
right
I mean,
now.
you come from the industry, no pun intended, from the industry that is known for being over-sexualized.
Well, yes, I'd say most of the entertainment industry is known for being, overly sexualized at this point. But I have to tell you, given I wasn't running around Hollywood during the 70s, but the time I was around and since then going to the parties, this whole idea that, everybody in Hollywood's nailing everybody and swinging and this and that is pretty outdated idea.
Yeah.
Really? It's an outdated concept. Interesting. Everybody's more conservative now?
I wouldn't say more conservative. I would just say people are considerably more aware of STDs and, the things that can go wrong. We live in an age of, internet media and everything being exposed. There's a lot of reasons why I think that doesn't occur quite as much anymore.
Very true. Very true. I mean, Lonni, I
wonder too if it doesn't occur as much anymore because now people know the age of social media. Someone will blast you right away and say, this person has herpes. Because remember, you guys, when the whole Usher thing came up, that Usher had herpes? And allegedly a couple women came out and said that he gave them herpes.
I remember.
Remember that? And then one of them actually, they say they settled out of court. So whenever I recently, and I like Usher, I like his music, so nothing personal against him or his sex life or women, but his girlfriend had a baby. And just in my spare time, I was reading some comments when they posted, a picture of him, his baby mama, and the baby. And people were still bringing up the herpes thing. They were still asking, because, people on social media are relentless these days.
They're ruthless.
So when I think of something like this, happening, I'm not surprised where it happened, because if there were to be any kind of huge orgy convention, not to stereotype, I would say it would either happen in New Orleans or Las Vegas. Those two places. Or somewhere in Nevada.
True. You do have the Bunny Ranch out in Vegas, in the outskirts of Vegas. So
No, not the outskirts of Vegas. Vegas in particular made sure that all of that is outside of city limits now. Vegas is a family town. It's in another county.
Oh, bull.
I'm just giving you, that's what they say.
That's what they say, all right. That's what they say. They say a lot, don't they?
They say a lot.
Oh, my God. Well, yeah, that's pretty much... that's pretty much what's going on with that whole swingers convention. And I don't know, would you guys ever attend a swingers party? No. Lonni, you wouldn't? Just for curiosity.
No, I wouldn't. But I believe that there was a couple that were interested in me before. Like, I've had swingers kind of hit on me, but I don't roll that way. My whole thing is, if you want to swing, Well, this couple, they were married. If you want to swing, don't be married. Just freaking swing.
Well, you do realize that a lot of couples believe that swinging saves their marriage. It keeps their marriage hot and spicy and still keeps it because there were rumors that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith are also swingers. Those were rumors.
I heard that.
Nothing has ever been confirmed about that, but it was said that they were swingers, and they believe the same thing, that's why their marriage has been so healthy and has been going on for a long time, even though Jada went ahead and dated that other guy or whatever.
Yeah, I forgot his name. The singer.
Yeah, the singer guy. Even though that happened, but still, it seems that they if that is true, then that could contribute. And there's been a lot of other people that believe the same. Jeremy, you're in a very committed, relationship with Joni. Would you ever think about doing something like that?
Let me put it this way. We don't share well.
Exactly. I was about to say the same thing, Jerry. When it comes, Jerry, I did call you Jerry. I'm so sorry, Jeremy.
I didn't even catch it.
I didn't either.
It's just not something that has ever really interested me. I've been around those scenes. I did have one similar experience that was certainly drug fueled back in my early days. Not anything that I, have ever craved, wanted, or looked on with any fondness or, longing. So no, I'm very monogamous, and the whole idea God bless you. I couldn't care less, whatever floats your boat. And if it keeps your marriage happy and everything else, awesome. If that's, I got nothing to say about it, but that ain't for me.
It's crazy. I actually bartended 2 swinger parties.
Oh wow!
Yeah. We had there was this small spot in Encino, California, that I used to bartend at, and it was a regular bar. It was just a regular bar. They would turn it into a small little club. It could only hold maybe 100, 150 people max. Was the max capacity. It was a very small spot, and what happened was that they would go ahead and close down the entire place. There was small windows that they would cover up and everything to throw these parties. And one of the bartenders who had because this is the second year that they were throwing this party, and he told me, he's like, dude, this is crazy what happens over here. People have sex on the bar. You got to be prepared for that. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So we were we did the event. And I saw a lot of interesting things that night. One of which, the 2 of which that happened was that there was a group of 3 people, two very beautiful women and 1 good-looking guy. And, we just got to talking, and I'm like, so what's the deal here? And it's like, oh, we're just here to have fun, and, see what happens afterward. And I was like, really? And aren't you supposed to be married or something? It's like, oh yeah, my husband's actually out of town. One of the ladies said. I was like, really? Does he know about this? And she's like, no. I was like, but while the cat's away, the mice will play. I was like, wow. Okay. Well, that's nice of you. And then a few hours later, there was a sofa, kind of not a sofa, but like a seat, kind of like a recliner, I guess you might call it, that was in the club. And there was just a couple. This woman was on top of her guy, and they were just going at it. They were just going to town. And I was like, wow, dinner and a show, right on. So, swinger parties get pretty wild. I will definitely admit that. And, but right now, in the time of COVID, it's not exactly the best idea to be doing any of that kind of stuff with people that you really don't know, especially 300 people. Again, like you said, Jeremy, more power to you, if that's what saves your marriage, if that's what keeps your marriage happy and everything. But right now, it's kind of a tough call. You got over 40 people that were infected with COVID now. So that's just, and probably caught whoever, whatever else. Because I mean, it is a swinger party, so you never know. That's a cesspool of STDs right there, if you ask me.
Right.
But yeah, it's funny actually, Jeremy, that you mentioned the term blurred lines, because guess what song's coming up next right now?
Robin Thicke.
Here is Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines featuring T.I. and Pharrell right here on the Xander Effect.
Everybody get up.
What's good with yourselves? This is your boy Qwes and White Piece. And guess what? You're listening to that super saucy show known as The Xander Effect. So make sure you tune in, turn up, and turn out for my boy Xander. You feel me? The Xander Effect. You did.
Xander Effect.
Baby, are you here to stay? 'Cause if you are, I'm going nowhere. Show me if you feel the same. And I'll ricochet. So tell me all of your desire.
that was Dovely's Riccochet right here on the Xander Effect. And wanted to give a quick shout out to Dovely and, let her know that my condolences go to her. She just lost her puppy yesterday, actually. Cutest little thing. She's been posting, pictures and videos of her and her little dog. And it really broke my heart because it was just, she actually showed a video of her puppy the day before her little one passed away. Her little fur baby passed away, and it just looks so like it was, his I think it was a she. Its head was like on her chest and just like lying there, just sleeping. And I was like, oh my God, it's breaking my heart right there. So yeah, shout out to you, Dovely. I hope that you're better. I mean, I know what it's like to lose pets. I've lost a few of them over the years, and it never gets easier. I mean, Jeremy, I know that you've lost a pet here and there too. So, and I mean, Lonni, I don't know if you ever have.
Oh my goodness! It's with you mentioning this, is this like the season of friends losing their dogs? Because I have a pretty close friend who's a writer, film screenplay writer and attorney in LA, who I follow, and he just lost his cute little dog, Zeus. I think he was like bulldog, cute little French bulldog, or I forgot what kind of dog he was, but same thing. He wrote this just such touching message about the dog. And the dog was like the most affectionate, funny dog ever. And I know what it's like. I've been there before, and that pain, there's no pain like it.
And it's funny that you say that because she was the second person yesterday that lost a dog. Another person, another friend of mine, or not friend, but she's an acquaintance actually. She lost her Maltese like yesterday too. And it's like you said, is this God? That's why I see my dog and I freaking hug her and I hold her. I was like, my poor, because my dog's getting up in age too. Like I have a Maltese Shih Tzu, and she's getting up in age too. She's like in dog years. She's like in her 80s now, and but she still has, thank God, she still has a lot of energy. She still has a lot of energy, so we try to take care of her as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, she worries me too, because I'm just like, no, not like, it would break my heart. I mean, it sucks because we know that dogs don't really,
they just don't live long enough.
Yeah, I
say that all the time.
They really don't, and that breaks our hearts every single time. I mean, little dogs last a lot longer. That's what I heard. And the thing is, I had a Scottish Terrier, a Scotty Terrier. Her name was Princess. She lasted me for like 17 years.
Wow.
She was around for a very long time.
And you always get those outliers though. I mean, you got to meet, did you ever get to meet my dog, Sarah?
Yes, I did. That's why I was like, I brought that up because I know you lost her too.
Yeah. She was a British spotted pointer mix. And was a good sized dog. I mean, she was a big dog, and she went 18, almost 19 years.
That's amazing.
And I mean, going strong until the very end.
Yep.
I dog sit these two terriers in LA. In fact, when I first started on this show, I was watching them, and Lulu is like 16 or 17 years old right now. And it's amazing. She's still going strong. But my friend, the dogs are like vegetarians.
Wow.
They're mainly, I mean, they eat meat, but they mainly love plants.
Well,
both of our dogs. So like the snacks that she leaves whenever I watch them will be like broccoli, will be like steamed a little bit. They like vegetables, which is amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think my dad actually takes care of the Maltese Shih Tzu a lot, and he gives her fish oil tablets, pills. Gives her Omega, and he said that it's actually good for dogs too. Like it's not just good for humans, it's good for dogs too because it keeps their heart well.
Very cool.
That's what somebody had told him, and so he's been giving her that. He's like, dude, why do you think she's still like kicking and still strong? Because I've been giving her these tablets.
Yeah.
Going. I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea, actually.
That's absolutely smart.
Yep.
Adding a little bit of the fish oil or fish oil tablets is great. People years ago, before they really realized what fish oil could do, would add extra virgin olive oil to the dry food.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
You know, for antioxidant and heart health and all that kind of stuff. And then everybody realized how good fish oil was, and that's now the better thing to do.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's so funny because my dad was you know, hesitant in telling me, because I'm always on him for some of the crazy stuff that he does. So he was like, I didn't want to tell you. I was like, actually, this is the one time you could tell me, because I'm okay with that. You know, like, it's not a bad idea for you to do that. You know, like, this right here is a good idea. All the other stuff you do is crazy, but this is a good idea. You know, keep doing this. That's fine. You know, I mean, my dad's like a child. Like, it's so funny because it's like, it's, you know, the son now becomes the parent, and I always have to like watch him. You know, he's like a kid, you know, especially in his condition, he tends to be childish here and there. So Jeremy knows about this.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But anywho, so but yeah, so, you know, my condolences go to Dovely, you know, for losing her pet, and also to my acquaintance Gwen as well for losing hers, and, you know, and Lonni, to your friend as well.
Shout out to Jorge, because he was such a good dog dad, and I feel his pain.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad, and you know, 2020 can't go any faster, I swear. But in entertainment news, Steven Spielberg talking about how crazy 2020 has been. Steven Spielberg has an alleged stalker that wants to kill him, and he ended up filing docs with LAPD with law enforcement, and basically, you know, to have a restraining order against a woman named Sarah Char that has been threatening him with killing him. And he got a Twitter message from Char saying, quote, if I have to personally murder people for stealing my IPs, I will. Get me? Now, IPs is an acronym for intellectual property. So it would seem that maybe, you know, she's accusing Spielberg of stealing something of hers, and that's why she's threatening to kill him. But according to you know, docs from law enforcement officials, it seems that she's got a record of you know, basically saying that the woman had tried to purchase a gun to kill him. You know, she's been, actually, Spielberg also claims that she's been arrested for criminal threats, harassment, and stalking. You know, so that's what's going on. This woman, actually, he doesn't. Steven Spielberg claims this, but it looks like law enforcement officials are taking it seriously. Obviously, it's Steven Spielberg. You're not going to go he's not going to go ahead and make things up. Plus, we've never really heard of this type of situation with Spielberg before ever. This is the first I've ever heard of a stalker trying to kill him. I mean, you know, he's actually one of my my idols, actually, growing up. You know, I loved all his movies. I loved him as a director. I think he's a brilliant director. You know, he ranks up there with Ron Howard, you know, two of my favorite directors right there. And he just seems like a very solid human being. And it's just shocking to hear that somebody wants to kill him. He just doesn't seem like the type of person that would actually do anybody any wrong. So to hear this, it's just crazy. I mean, you know, Lonni, what do you like? Yeah. What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
There are a lot of crazy people out there. That's my first thought. And if you're famous, no matter how nice you are, no matter how much good you do, there's always going to be some Looney Tune out there that's just like ready to threaten you in some way. So I hope law enforcement are taking it seriously, because as we know, all these other cases where, you know, somebody makes a threat and then they follow through with it. I mean, just take celebrity out of it. How many times has that happened where they go back and look at their Twitter accounts or look at something they've said on Facebook or on Instagram, and then the person followed through? So definitely needs to be taken seriously.
I mean, you know, I gotta pass it over to Jeremy here, because I mean, Jeremy, I know that you've had to deal with this, like with things like this before. We've talked about this in the past as well. I mean, how serious do you think law enforcement should take these types of threats?
Well, they need to take it extremely seriously, and thankfully, over the last many years, they have been taken more seriously. There are specific stalker laws in place now that unfortunately had to come about through the death of my friend, my very dear friend, Rebecca Schaefer. And she was stabbed by a stalker. The police did not take the threat seriously. People were just basically blowing it off. Up until that point, stalker was not even a term the cops really knew. And unfortunately, this guy stabbed her God knows how many times on her doorstep. And that is the action that actually spurred these laws into being. So, as somebody who's been around this for a long time, I have friends who work in soap opera, which is one of the most stalked and most filled with crazy fans that there is. I mean, almost every one of my soap opera friends has had a fan that they've, I mean, I have friends, very big, soap opera, stars who have walked in.
Sean Kanan,
Sean Kanan, Tristan Rogers, a bunch. I mean, I know a lot of these guys. They have walked in and found fans in their shower. They have, and I'm not talking on the set or on the lot. I'm talking their home. Things can get really crazy and really out of hand really quickly. I mean, you wouldn't think it, but I think I've talked about this before. I have an FBI file not on me, but I had a stalker. So, and this was a very serious stalker. This guy was actually writing threats to Prince Harry and Prince William. He was writing them to me. He was writing them to Danica McKellar. He was writing them to a bunch of different celebrities. And I was the only one he seemed really focused on. He'd write random ones, but mine were very consistent. To the point where he actually was naming dates where he was going to come to Los Angeles and do lots of unspeakable things to me.
Oh my goodness, Jeremy, how scary for you.
It was definitely, I mean, there were times it was really, really scary, getting raced out of school to be stuck on a helicopter and taken to an undisclosed location because somebody called in a death threat. I mean, there was all sorts of different things. So yeah, that can be really scary. But people took it seriously, thankfully, at this point. It was taken very seriously. The FBI got involved. The head of Warner Brothers Security, Gavin DeBecker, got involved. I had 2 to 3 rather intimidating looking gentlemen in black leather trench coats following me around for weeks and weeks at a time on the set. And, that, although made the situation more real and a little more scary, you also felt like, I was being taken care of.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then, it all ended up that he actually booked a ticket out to Los Angeles and at the same time had written me I think it was like 200-page handwritten life biography manifesto that he actually stuck his address on.
Oh my, what a...
So
wow.
The second they saw he had purchased the tickets...
What an idiot.
They had his address and the FBI showed up on his doorstep and arrested him.
Wow.
Now,
that's awesome.
Again, to illustrate how crazy these people can get, this did nothing to deter this man. The day, and I swear to you, the day he got out of prison, he called me. He's not supposed to have any contact with me. He just got out of prison for stalking me. Now, there were other people he did it to, but he went to prison for me, for doing this to me. And the day he got out of prison, he called me. So
that just goes to show you how sick these people are.
Well, I'm curious. What did he say exactly?
That he wanted to let me know that, he was out and, he was still thinking about it. It was very threatening.
Wow. And what happened? Did he go back inside or what the hell happened?
I honestly kind of washed my hands of it at that point. This is back in the day. some of our listeners might not know what this is, but we had these answering machines that had tapes in them.
Oh, you're bringing it back then.
we had tapes, these little things called cassettes.
Yeah, I remember those. I used to try to do my voice really nice.
I still have those.
So anyway, we saved the cassette that had it. We put it in an envelope, mailed it to the FBI, and they took it from there. So I have no idea if he ended up back in. I have no idea. He never contacted me again after that. But that's just the level of crazy you're dealing with. And that's why law enforcement and everybody else has to take this so seriously. Well, I mean, it's happened numerous times. Look at what happened with Monica Seles.
Yeah.
And I mean, she got stabbed by a fan. Yeah. The guy somehow smuggled a 7-inch fishing knife into a tennis stadium.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And there were many threats this guy had been making because he was he was obsessed with Steffi Graf, and he wanted to take Seles out because she was beating her all the time.
Right.
Well, they received numerous threats. The ATP had received numerous threats. Mm-hmm. Nobody did anything until this guy jumps out of the stands and stabs her right in the back of the neck.
Yep. I remember that.
And you know what? Just to be clear about one thing. Whenever I'm on the show and whenever I say, like to my guests or whatever, how can people stalk you on social media? I don't mean stalking in the negative, in the negative term. I mean it in the way that we all follow our favorite actors, our favorite artists and stuff like that. I in no way endorse the illegal action of harassing or stalking or anything like that. I in no way endorse any of that at all.
And I'll actually come to your defense here, even though it pains me to do so. But no, the truth is that in the age of social media and quote unquote Facebook stalking your ex or whatever, there is a lighter tone to it when describing that kind of thing. And, because socially it's more of a term that is, a slang that is now more acceptable, that's one thing. Exactly. But we have to remember that there is another level that this achieves. And as soon as somebody feels threatened or feels like there's an issue, it needs to be taken seriously immediately.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Completely agreed. And, like I said, it's on this particular show, when I say this about a guest or when I say, hey, stalk us on social media, I say it in, I use the word again in a positive connotation, not a negative, because stalking is a very serious, offense that's going on. It should be, like you said, Jeremy, should be taken very seriously. Unfortunately, there have been tragedies resulting from stalking, from a person being stalked. So whenever it involves a person's life that's at stake, authorities should definitely take that very seriously. I'm glad that Steven Spielberg, they're taking it seriously with him. Obviously, he's a huge director. They're going to protect him like, he was a crown jewel practically. I mean, he is a knighted, director by the Queen. His name is Sir Steven Spielberg. So,
well, I mean, he has the money to hire protection, and I think that's great. But it's unfortunate there are a lot of people out there who don't have the means, whose lives are in just as much danger.
Absolutely.
So I mean, nothing against Steven Spielberg with being blessed to be able to hire all these people, but I'm just thinking of the average woman out there, single mom whose ex or current boyfriend has threatened her or beating her, and who's stalked. We've heard these stories so many times, and then he ends up killing her.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why on any level, authorities have to take this seriously. This is not just something, some cute little whatever. This gets dangerous very quickly.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, happy to see that the authorities are taking it seriously. They're protecting them, and they should always take it seriously on anybody, with any actors. I mean, again, it's tragic when they don't take it seriously and something happens like your friend Jeremy, like both your friends, really. And it's tragic to hear these types of things. Not both your friends, I'm talking about one of them, but the other one was a tennis player. But you know what I mean. Glad to see that he's receiving the correct kind of protection. So hopefully they'll put this person. I mean, he's obtained a restraining order, keeping her 100 yards away from him, his wife, and his daughter. But still, they need to do more with this person because, she's obviously threatening his life, and that's taking it to the next level. So hopefully they'll go ahead and do a little more than just give, him a restraining order for this person. We'll see what happens. In other entertainment news, a new Van Helsing movie is reportedly in development at Universal. So it seems that the industry is running out of ideas.
No. It's only about the 3700th Van Helsing film.
Well, you got to remember that Van Helsing never had a standalone film per se.
Wait a second. What was the Hugh Jackman debacle?
I said. You said 4300. He never really had. Van Helsing never had a standalone film per se. You didn't let me finish before the one with Hugh Jackman. So I mean, Van Helsing was introduced during Bram Stoker's Dracula, and he was in there as well. But I mean, there wasn't like the character was always there, but they never actually came up with a movie until the Hugh Jackman one. And it seems that, I mean, seriously, it didn't really do that well at the box office. So I don't understand why Universal's trying to do it again, or trying to do another one. And they're saying that right now it's in development. Nothing's been set in stone. It's still just in development, and it's going to be directed by Overlord's Julius Avery, and they're trying to make it move forward. They're trying to make it move forward, especially after it follows The Invisible Man, because that one hasn't been overdone a bazillion freaking times in different. They did Invisible Man, they did Hollow Man, they did a bunch of them that were very similar. So whatever. So they got that going on, and it looks like because of the success of The Invisible Man, Van Helsing might receive an R rating. So that's going to be something else that they're thinking about as well. There is no word, however, if Hugh Jackman is going to reprise the role, though. There hasn't been any word. I highly doubt that Hugh Jackman would want to do that role again, especially after the first one that didn't do too well. So who knows if he's going to decide to do that. But honestly, I don't know. Another Van Helsing movie, I'm kind of on the fence about that, Jeremy. Your thoughts? I mean, you like horror movies. I mean, would you actually think that this would be a good idea?
I just don't know how you can do it and have it be original at all. I mean, that's at least the one thing I can give the Hugh Jackman version, was that they took a risk and they tried to make it an original take on the character. Unfortunately, they went for the kind of James Bond superhero kind of aspect, right? Which was a little ridiculous.
With the gadgets and everything.
Yeah, gadgets. I mean, it's like Van Batman. I mean, that's
no kidding. He really was.
But again, they took a risk and they tried to do something original. I don't know how you can make that story that's been told over and over original, how you can make it unique and how it won't be just the same telling again. I'm glad they took that shot because, at least they were trying to do something that was, their own. They weren't just copying the same formula, but it unfortunately missed for most fans.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, according to the box office reviews, it wasn't that good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Lonni, are you a horror movie buff?
I was just about to say that, like, the horror is normally not my genre. I'm not really interested in this. Those kind of movies always give me bad dreams.
Really?
But I did watch The Invisible Man, the recent one.
How was that one? I haven't seen it yet.
And that kind of freaked me out.
Really?
That kind of print. It was pretty good. And then I was reading that it grossed like a lot. I don't know what the exact figure was, but it made a lot of money.
Yeah, because it's so funny because like the Invisible Man, it just reminds me of a really dirty joke, actually. Well, you know what? I mean, let's just stop for a second and let me tell the joke, because this is actually kind of funny joke. It's actually involving the Invisible Man. So here's a joke, a real quick Xander Effect joke here. So
brace yourselves, folks.
Brace yourselves.
Here we go.
So one day, you know, Superman was like flying around, and he was like really horny, right? Like he was like, God, I need to get some, you know. So he flies over to Batman. He's like, Batman, man, I really need to get some right now. I mean, is there anybody I could hook up with or something like that? Because I really need it. And Batman's like, man, the best sex I ever had was with Wonder Woman. Trust me, you need to go there. And he's like, but we're so close. I mean, me and her were like, it's like brother and sister practically. I can't see myself doing that. It's like, I'm just telling you, Wonder Woman, best lay I ever had. Well, thanks anyway. So Superman continues to fly around and everything, and he ends up seeing Aquaman. He's like, man, maybe Aquaman knows of somebody. So flies down, asks Aquaman the same thing. Aquaman's same answer. He's like, man, Wonder Woman, trust me, best lay I ever had in my life. The girl's a freak. And he's like, oh man, I can't. But thanks anyway. He's flying around. Suddenly, in the middle of a field, he sees Wonder Woman spread eagle. Like just lying on her back, spread eagle, naked. And he's like, oh man, she looks great. You know what? I'm faster than a speeding bullet. I could be in and out of there within a few seconds. She wouldn't even notice. You know what? I'm going to go for it. So Wonder Woman's just lying there when all of a sudden, whoosh. And she's like, what the hell was that? Invisible Man goes, I don't know, but my ass sure hurts. Sorry. But thank you. I'll be here all night, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, okay.
I seriously, as you're telling, I'm going, I can't believe he's telling this joke. I've heard the joke. I'm sitting here keeping my mouth shut going, I cannot believe he's actually telling this joke.
Well, she brought up the Invisible Man, so I was like, it's just an obvious joke, you know? Come on.
I had a feeling it was gonna go there.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'll be here all week. In other entertainment news, more funny stuff actually. Taylor Swift went ahead and is promoting a new app, Match, which is a new dating site. And actually, Lonni, we spoke about this before the show started, which was freaking hilarious. She's teaming up with Ryan Reynolds, and in classic Ryan Reynolds humor, they decided to come up with a commercial for it. And the commercial is that Satan is in hell, and he's lonely, he's looking for love, and he gets a match on the app. So he goes and meets up with his match, and it's a very beautiful woman walks up, and she's like, Satan? And he's like, 2020, and she cuts him off. She's like, just call me 2020. I was like, perfect. So they start doing like a montage of their love, of their romance and everything, and it's the song in the background playing is Taylor Swift's Love Story, and it's just you see them both going to the gym where nobody's at, obviously because of quarantine, the movie theaters that are empty. You see Satan waiting outside of a bathroom, and you see 2020 grabbing a bunch of toilet paper and just running out. The commercial's hilarious. And at the end of the commercial, you see them both sitting on a bench overlooking like a river or something like that, a bench and a bridge, and you see asteroids start flying down, and she's like, I wish this year would never end. And Satan's like, don't we all? And it ends with that. I'm like, that was perfect. So yeah, you guys definitely have to see it. It's on,
watch it.
They posted it on Twitter. I'll probably repost it as well on my social media. And it was just, oh my God, it was just so perfect with everything that's going on right now. Oh my God. I mean, They did. I believe that they kind of poked fun at the elections too, because you see them both taking a selfie in front of a garbage can that's on fire. And I'm like, that could only mean that whole thing about a bunch of votes being lit on fire at a garbage can. So I'm assuming that that's where they got that from too. But yeah, they definitely did a great job. Ryan Reynolds is just a freaking is just a humor genius. Like, his dark humor is too damn funny. And yeah, it's a great way to advertise this app. I mean, you know, Lonni, are you gonna try this app? Yeah. Oh no, wait a minute, you got a guy.
Yeah, I don't really do online dating, even when I have not been dating anybody. I don't know. I don't like it. I tried it before, and I just don't have good luck with it. So
well, I mean, you're lucky. You're lucky you have somebody. I mean, in this COVID era, I mean, it's not uncommon for people to actually have like COVID dates and stuff like that, because, you know, it's one of those things that's like trending right now. It's not trending, but it's something that people have to do right now while they're in quarantine, I would imagine.
Yeah, dating is really hard right now. I remember it was like sometime in the spring, one of my girlfriends was telling me she was gonna go meet someone she had met on one of the apps, and just how strange it was. And then when she was going through all the profiles, she was telling me there were some people who weren't interested in talking to her with a mask. And she didn't feel comfortable because of the whole mask issues, having to wear one. So she just didn't end up going on a date. So it really has, for single people, it really has just dampened their social life and dating.
Yes, it really has. It really has. I'm talking from experience here.
Right.
Both you and Jeremy are lucky you have your significant others. The rest of us, we're screwed. We're very screwed. I mean, Jeremy, you know, you're one lucky man. And the thing, but I'm wondering, did you ever go on any type of like dating company? Or I doubt that you had any trouble with that, because I mean, hell, you had fame, you had, you know, people knew who you were. So I mean, was it like I doubt that you had any issues finding a date, you know, before of course Joni.
I'm in no way, you know, putting anybody down who's used a site, but no, I never did. I never got on. I never really explored them. We did, as like me and my mom bought a subscription for one of my brothers once for like a 6-month thing, and he met a few people he really liked, and they got along and stuff, but you know, nothing came of it in the long run. But you know, it's the way it is. Some people are very comfortable with it. And, you know, my only real question is, this is an app called Match.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't we already have a dating site with that name?
That's what
that's what I heard too. But I'm assuming that it's part of the same company. I'm assuming.
Well, wouldn't it have to be? I mean, it's the same genre. It's the same everything. You can't just name your company the same name as somebody else.
Actually, yeah, it is the same company. I'm sorry, it is the same company. They're just, they just teamed up to pimp, according to TMZ, to pimp the dating site Match.
Got it. Then that makes more sense to me. I was very confused there.
It wasn't it's their app, it's their dating site or whatever. It's actually, they're just promoting the app Match right now. Which is actually a great promotion for it, to be honest, especially right now with 2020 and everything that's going on. So
I actually have a friend who met his wife through Match. So
I know a lot of people who have met their significant others who they're still with through when I did try the online thing, I tried it for about 6 months, and I tried eHarmony, and I will say that out of all of them, I found that one was really good at matching me with people who had really the same, because I think they base it on like algorithms. So it was really like, it was wild because we had a lot of very, very similar life experiences. And
I just have so many questions on eHarmony, their personality analysis is just so thorough.
It was very thorough.
Questions. I'm like, oh my God, this is like 250 questions. I mean,
yeah.
I actually, it's funny because the questions they asked were kind of similar to the questions I had to answer when I applied for a bartending position at the Olive Garden. They actually like had us because I opened the Olive Garden here in Burbank, California. I was one of the first bartenders to actually be there, to be an employee for the Olive Garden here in Burbank. And it was just so funny because when they had us fill out all the paperwork and everything, part of filling out that paperwork was like that type of questionnaire, you know, a personality exam or a test or something. I'm like, what the hell? This is for a bartending job. I mean, it was kind of crazy, but at the same time, it also made sense, I guess, because they want to see who they're going to be working with. But, you know, in essence, I'm like, anybody could lie on these damn things. Like, it's so easy to lie.
Yeah, you could.
And just tell and just, you know, write what you want them to hear, what you think they would want you to be.
There's a lot of that. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped it, because of just the expectation. That was the thing of it. You know, there's just so much buildup. You might have this great banter, back and forth. And then finally when you meet each other, it was like,
crickets. It's like crickets. Like, so I guess we talked about everything we were going to talk about on the app. Okay, we're moving on. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I've been on dating sites as well, and I've met couple of people here and there. I mean, I've had good dates, I've had bad dates, and it's one of those things where sometimes I actually just like meeting a person at a lounge or a bar or something like that, because you get to know them right then and there. And I've actually met a couple of really cool women that actually one in particular comes to mind. We became friends on Instagram, and I still have her number. I just never actually pulled the trigger with her, and she's very attractive, very beautiful. She was with a group of other ladies, and we hit it up pretty well. We had a lot in common, and I'm like that though. I'm a weirdo like that. I guess that's probably the reason why I'm single. Is like, I guess I'm afraid of commitment. I don't know, but we still keep in contact here and there. We still chat here and there every once in a while. And she seems like a really cool person, but I don't know. It's one of those things where I prefer speaking with them in person than through an app, really, because you get to know the person right then and there instead of asking a bunch of questions through an app. And it's different. It's different in my opinion. And you know, unless you're looking for like a wham bam thank you ma'am type of situation, you know, really getting to know the person in person is different, because I mean that's when you really want to know who they are, and you really want to date them, or you want to see where you can take it to the next level if you know when you talk to them in person. But I guess apps for me are more used for hookups these days, which is fine, which is perfectly fine. But you know, it sucks for those that are really looking for love, like are really truly looking for love, because they don't take it seriously. You know, some people are just like, oh, you know, I mean, I'm just here to hook up. And I've seen that from many people, and it's crazy. I mean, dating is just crazy in general. It's tough, especially when you get older. It's not easy. It gets harder when you get older, because everybody's in a different mindset. You know, if you date a woman that's or a man that's over the age of 35, usually they're either looking to settle down, or they have already settled down and they don't want it. You know, it's a catch-22. You really don't know what you're gonna get this day and age. So it's tough. Dating is just tough in general. But I mean, this particular commercial is hilarious. You guys got to watch it. It's on Twitter. It's on social media. But it's freaking
definitely check it out.
Funny.
I'll have to check it out.
Funny, so funny, and it just completely, you know, emphasizes how this year went. Completely. It's just awesome. It's perfect. Coming up next in sports news, the WWE and wrestling has lost a legend. Pat Patterson has passed away at the age of 79. We'll talk a little bit about that. But first, here is Sugarbomb's Hello, right here on the Xander Effect.
Johnny Celeste.
This is Larry Namer, the founder of E! Entertainment Television.
Hi, this is Maricela Cornell.
Hey, how's it going? This is Polo Molina.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is the Xander Effect, and I am the DJ KID to Kick the Creek. Welcome to the place to be.
You make me come. You make me complete. You make me completely miserable. Stuck to a chair, watching this story about me. Everything goes by so fast, making my head spin. Used up all of my friends, but who needs them when you mean everything? Well, I love the things that we should fear, and I'm not afraid of being here. There's so much to say, it makes me helpless. Nothing to share. Why should I care if you're near me? Give up all of my plans, but who needs them when you mean everything? I love the things that we should fear, and I'm not afraid of being here. There's so much to say, it makes me helpless. You make me come. You make me complete. You make me completely miserable. You make me come. You make me complete. You make me completely miserable. You make me come. You make me complete. You make me come. You make me complete. You make me completely miserable.
This is Jackie Lastra, the voice of A-Set, you bet, from I, the Somnium Files, and you're listening to The Xander Effect.
It's been a while since I've seen your face. Gotta say that I'm happy to see you come around my place. Now, I think we talked about it, and I think I know what's coming up next. Let's put our minds away and let our hormones comes to the rest. Does it seem obscene? Does it seem like a bad thing? Well, if it is, I'm sorry, miss, but you know I'm just 19. So don't be afraid if I act like a freak. You know damn well I'm in my sexual peak. Well, why don't you have some dirty hot sex with me? It ain't like I'm asking you to give it up for free. Oh, we get started right now, baby, I'm on my knees. Don't make me beg again, girl, I just said please, please. Yeah, now when you look down, don't be misled. I found my life purpose and it's got me upstairs into your bed now. So there's your phone, girl, go right on ahead. I'm sure you'd rather be with your stupid boyfriend instead. Why you gotta sleep with my dad?
Hey boy, how's your chick?
Sorry,
Mira.
Thought it was you.
Why don't you have some dirty hot sex with me? It ain't like I'm asking you to give it up for free. Oh, we get started right now, baby, I'm on my knees. Don't make me beg again, well, girl, I just said please. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm begging you, darling, please. So yeah, oh yeah. I'm begging you, darling, please. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm begging you, darling, please. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm begging you, darling, please. Please me.
That was Peppers, Give It Up, right here on the Xander Effect. In sports, a very sad day in wrestling as WWE legendary wrestler Pat Patterson has passed away at the age of 79. Now, Pat Patterson, those of you that aren't wrestling fans, is a very famous, he's exactly a legend in the WWE. And even if you're not a wrestling fan, I'm sure that you have heard, of the Royal Rumble. I'm sure it's been advertised many times over the years in many different platforms. And you can thank Pat Patterson because Pat Patterson was actually the inventor of the Royal Rumble, not Vince McMahon. He actually brought the concept to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon loved it. And the very first Royal Rumble happened in 1988. I'm sorry. January 24th, 1988 was the first Royal Rumble in Hamilton, Ontario. Of course, Pat Patterson is also known to be the very first Intercontinental Champion. He won the IC title, back in, 1971, was it, Jeremy? Or no, 1979.
I was going to say it was late 70s.
Yeah, he won it in 1979, very first Intercontinental Champion. And of course, he's the first openly gay wrestler. He pretty much decided to come out in an episode of WWE's Legends House where he confessed, that he was a homosexual, that he confessed it to Roddy Piper, Jimmy Hart, in kind of like a table talk type of scenario. It was a very powerful moment for him, and it's a very sad day right now for the WWE. I know that Pat Patterson was pretty much Vince McMahon's right hand man along with Gerald Briscoe. So it's a very sad day in wrestling right now. Many wrestlers have already started to come out to pay homage to the legend. Triple H went ahead and said, posted on social media, quote, "No words can describe what he gave to to us. His body as an in-ring performer, his mind as a storyteller, and his spirit as a beloved member of our large WWE family. I will miss him for so many reasons. It's never goodbye. It's see you down the road. Love you, Pat. A booze. Shane McMahon, the son of Vince McMahon, went ahead and also said, quote, I cannot express how crushed I feel right now with the loss of Pat Patterson, a true member of my family, mentor, and dear friend. I love you, Pat. Godspeed. Jim Ross, who also was a commentator actually in WWE for many years. He is now a commentator on AEW. He was friends with Pat Patterson. He went ahead and said, quote, just heard of the passing this morning of the great Pat Patterson, true legend of the pro wrestling business, a wonderful mentor who taught me so much. R.I.P. old friend. And then, of course, Stephanie McMahon, the daughter of Vince McMahon, went ahead and said, quote, I'm deeply grateful to have grown up with WWE Hall of Famer, the first ever Intercontinental Champion, the father of the hashtag Royal Rumble, and the first openly gay wrestler of his generation. Thank you for teaching me how to not take it all so seriously. A booze. So my condolences go to the Patterson family during this tough time. Again, it's tough. It's tough to see another legend gone. I mean, Jeremy, you're a wrestling fan just like I am. I mean, this is a big hit for WWE.
Yeah, this one definitely hurts again. Not just an amazing legend inside the ring, but outside as well. Another one of those mentors and people who was there for all the up and comers and who helped really build, wrestling into what it is today. And he was a part of that, that last generation that it was really all about the wrestling ability still. I mean, personality sold, but it wasn't all the showmanship. It wasn't the big gimmicky costumes. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, it was guys in trunks trying to beat on each other. And the skill showed through, and you had to depend on that a lot more. And he was a part of that last generation. And it's, it's sad to see these guys go.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. And I mean, Lonni, I know you're not a wrestling fan, but if you were, trust me when I say this man right here definitely brought a lot to the WWE.
Sounds like he's touched a lot of people, and I think it's really cool that he was the first openly gay wrestler. That's awesome.
But that goes actually with a little bit of controversy, actually, because there were rumors years ago that he was gay, although he never really admitted it until just recently. But it was very there was a rumor mill going around by an old commentator by the name of Sean Mooney, and Sean Mooney claims that he got fired from the WWE because he wouldn't accept Pat Patterson's advances. And at the time, Pat Patterson hadn't come out. He hadn't been, he hadn't said that he was openly gay or anything like that. So Sean Mooney's claims were kind of brushed off. They were like, no, but Pat Patterson's not gay, blah blah. And but then he comes out years later saying that he Pat Patterson comes out saying that he is gay. So now you kind of have to wonder, was he right? Like, was it true? So it's kind of a shady situation there that I guess we'll never know. But what we do know for sure is that Pat Patterson was definitely a legend. And he definitely will be missed by many people in the industry. He definitely touched many wrestlers' lives. He had a lot of influence in a lot of the things that they did in the wrestling business. And it's a sad day for many fans, for many wrestling fans, because I mean, I only got to see Pat Patterson as the bad guy who was always doing Mr. McMahon's bidding during the Attitude Era. Him and Gerald Briscoe were the Stooges. They called them the Stooges of the WWE. They were pretty much they try to have Vince McMahon get away with everything by always making him cheat and all these other things. They were great heels. But and you always love to see them get their butt kicked by either The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin or somebody like that. It was always hilarious to watch them like scramble and try to get away from these other wrestlers. So yeah, he was definitely an entertainer. He entertained many people for many years. And again, sad day in wrestling to have lost the legendary Pat Patterson. And also, unfortunately, there's another loss. Actually, this just in. Actually, breaking news. Rayford Johnson has passed away at 86. He's an Olympic legend and American hero. And he passed away this morning in his home in Sherman Oaks. It's just a sad day in sports, period. I mean, you know, he won the gold medal in the decathlon at the 1960 Olympics in Rome, and then 4 years after, he won the silver at the same event at the 1956 Olympic Games. I'm sorry, 4 years earlier. So you know, it's definitely a sad day for sports, you know, as far as athletes go. So, you know, also to the Johnson family, our condolences go to them as well. But yeah, major losses in sports. But you know, we got to keep on going. We got to move on forward, and you know, hopefully they their families can find solace in the fans that they have, and you know that they were loved and they will be missed. In other sports news, looks like Snoop Dogg is launching a pro boxing league that he's going to call Fight Club. He has partnered up with Ryan Kavanaugh, who's the co-owner of Triller, along with Snoop, and they're going to be calling the league the Fight Club. And seems like they already have a blockbuster event in the works right now. You know, right now it looks like the Roy Jones Jr. Mike Tyson fight was kind of a beta version of what this might look like. And I gotta tell you, I saw the fight between Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. and I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the most exciting fight. Roy Jones was definitely playing a lot of defense against Mike. I don't blame him. You know, and it's so funny because after the fight was over, they had an interview. Man, Roy looked like he was in physical pain. He was he was holding his stomach, and he looked like he was about to blow chunks, like right then and there in that interview. And Tyson looked like he could go 6 more rounds. He was like fidgety. He was like, yeah, man. Yeah, you know, I mean, I did this all for the fans. You know, and it was funny. It was funny as hell because I was like, dude, it's like night and day between the two of them. You know, like you have this one guy that's like ready to go. The other guy's like, dude, I'm my age. I can't do this anymore. It was really bad. And Roy Jones, when they interviewed him, he was like, yeah. When you get hit by Mike, you feel it. Trust me, you feel it. He hits hard. And yeah, it was crazy. It actually ended up in a draw. Both fighters won, which I think they did that more for good sportsmanship because it was obvious and extremely apparent that Tyson won that fight, hands down. I watched the whole fight from beginning to end, and yeah, you could tell that Tyson won that fight. I mean, he was getting in there. He was hitting shots. He was hitting Roy Jones with a lot of solid hits, and you know, it's obvious that they did it as a draw just to go ahead and be. You know, it was a charity event. It wasn't like it was anything like huge or anything like that. It was for charity. Tyson went ahead and said that he did it for the fans. He didn't do it for himself. He did it for the fans. So, you know, you could tell that there's definitely growth from Mike Tyson from when, you know, he was younger. I mean, he's older now. He's in his 50s. So there's obviously a lot of growth there. But one fighter that did incredible was Jake Paul, which we'll get into that in a second. But going back to this Fight Club that Snoop Dogg and Ryan Kavanaugh are doing, they're very excited about this type of promotion. And basically what they're doing is like they're trying to do sanctioned and non-sanctioned fights. They saw that it was a pretty a successful event that they threw at the Staples Center with this past fight, and they want to do more. So looks like they're gonna continue on forward. And they were asking TMZ, he was interviewed by TMZ. And when they asked him about, what fights coming up, what huge, stars he's going to be including, because they're going to be including stars from actors, musicians, athletes, and pro boxers. They're all going to get a chance to get in the ring, which is an interesting concept that they're doing in there. And of course, Snoop Dogg is going to be commentating, because he was actually the commentator for this past weekend, and he was incredibly entertaining, according to a lot of sources, which I heard him too. He was actually very entertaining to listen to. And looks like when they asked about what fights are coming up, Kavanaugh said, quote, "I can tell you that the main fight, I can't say it yet, but it's going to be something that everybody wants to see. If you thought Tyson versus Jones Jr. is big, I think that this would be even larger from a worldwide appetite perspective and something that people want to see." So it's a great teaser, but the question is, what main event are they cooking up? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And Lonni, you heard some rumors about Snoop Dogg as well, that people were loving.
Yeah, I'm a big Snoop. I love Snoop Dogg. I just while the fight was airing, just like you, I didn't get it, but I had a friend who was streaming it on Facebook, so I watched a little bit of it last weekend, and most of the comments I heard were from people loving Snoop, loving his style, because he was basically announcing it like regular people talk about fighting, and just his Snoopisms and things that he just says that are just so funny to me. I mean, I just think he's so hilarious. The show that he and Martha Stewart did together, I love the two of them together.
It was brilliant.
It wasn't the best, because it's just
I never saw it actually.
Oh my goodness, because you've got Martha Stewart, and she's just so perfect in her bougie way of cooking, and then you have Snoop, who's just from the hood, and it's just the two together is so cute. I love them together, so I'm here for it. And just the fact, a good segue for me to plug, Snoop Dogg is a diehard Steelers fan, so I like.
Yeah, I know about that.
For that, and the Steelers actually play today in about an hour. The Ravens flew here to Pittsburgh, and the game comes on at 3:40. And I'm sure Snoop will be watching. So
can we really call it the Ravens? They dug out the shovel and dug Robert Griffin III up to actually start, since they're running so low on quarterback.
So
mean, dear God, they've got half a squad coming.
Yeah,
I hope you guys go 11-0 because I hope you guys go 11-0, because that is a skeleton crew coming in, and to lose to them would just be a travesty.
Oh, I know. Oh, don't even say that.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a very easy game for the Steelers to go ahead and win. Again, easy game.
Oh, you're just trying to jinx them now. You're being evil.
It's an easy game. It's true. I mean, you see this yourself. I mean, they're working with a skeleton crew. Obviously, it's an easy game.
Okay, you guys, we don't have Fonsi and we don't have Connor. Both of them.
Oh, boo hoo hoo! I'm over it. But going back to this fight promotion. I mean, Jeremy, what are your thoughts about the sanctioned and non-sanctioned type of fights that they're going to be promoting, and the fact of the matter that they're going to be using media stars, actors, musicians, and athletes in pro boxing situations?
No, whatever draws, and if people are going to tune in, I can't fault them for doing it. It doesn't shock me that people from other venues besides professional fighters are wanting to get in on this, and it doesn't shock me that there are promoters who want to make some money off of that. The fight game has always attracted people from a variety of different walks of life, and whether they've wanted to just be around it, whether they've wanted to participate in it. I mean, we've had actors, we've had athletes, we've had entertainers of all sorts training with professional fighters at different times, taking on amateur fights, different stuff like that. This is nothing new. And the fact that there are promoters out there who want to capitalize is nothing new either. Now, Snoop adds a certain amount of savvy, a certain amount of appeal, a certain amount of fun. And I think if he's going to be involved, you kind of know that especially the unsanctioned bouts are probably not going to be taken too seriously. They're going to be a little more fun. So I got no problem with it. I really don't. I think, people need to be careful because, this is not a joke and people do get hurt in the ring. And, just because you've spent a couple of hours in the ring with, I'll use this as an example. Justin Bieber got into it a little bit and started training just sporadically with Floyd Mayweather. And apparently he was feeling pretty hot shit about that. So he decided to mouth off to Orlando Bloom at a restaurant, and Bloom basically chicken winged him and slammed him headfirst into the table. So let me just remind you that, spending a couple of weeks, even a month or two training does not make you a fighter.
Correct.
You might have some ability, you might have learned a few things, but you need to take that into account and be careful.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about that, actually, in other sports news, Jake Paul's knockout heard around the world. In saying that, actually, when he knocked out NBA guard Nate Robinson, Nate coming in there thinking that this is going to be, I'm an athlete. I already know how to be an athlete. I could easily be a boxer, not a problem. Yeah, Jake Paul went ahead and taught him different. Man, that was a hard knockout to watch, too. In the second round, no less. Like, he had basically hit Nate in the back of the head. Well, it looked like a back of the head shot, really, but it looked more like Nate was trying to turn to cover his face or something, and he ran into Jake Paul's fist when he did that, and he went down for a second. He was really dazed. He was kind of stunned there for a second. He was down for an almost 10 count. Then he got up, and it just Nate's style of boxing was just so amateur. It looked like one of those fights that you would see at a bar where the guy just swinging and just going after one another and just, it was so unorganized. It looked so amateur. Like there wasn't anything smart about the way he was boxing. Nothing whatsoever. He was just going straight for rushing him. There was times where it almost seemed like an MMA fight in a sense, and it's like, dude, this isn't MMA. Stop trying to throw the guy to the ground. I mean, what are you doing? It was just really it was really bad to watch. It was horrible to watch. But Jake Paul definitely capitalized on it because he saw that Nate Robinson was going to come after him. He's like, all right, you're going to come after me. You're going to eat this punch. And sure enough, he did, and knocked him flat out. He was on the floor to the point where medical personnel guy had to get in there to wake him up because he was out. He was out for a good minute and a half. I mean, he was not responding. He was gone.
He got knocked out cold. He went face down into the mat. So, I mean, that was a clear knockout. This was not a TKO. This was, he got knocked out cold.
Oh, yeah. No, it was so bad. And because of that, Jake Paul now wants to fight Conor McGregor. He's going to the big leagues.
Oh, God. Sorry. I needed that laugh.
Apparently, Jeremy's not taking that seriously, but Jake Paul is, and looks like he says that he's in talks, saying that the fight will happen. He's already speaking to the camp. He went ahead and tagged Conor McGregor's manager, Audie Adar, and tagged him in a Twitter post saying, quote, I mean, what fighter with this big of a platform is calling out McGregor? It's going to happen. You will all see at Adar. I'll call you this week. So apparently, Adar went ahead and responded, and according to Paul, he went ahead and told an outlet, said, quote, "My team is talking to his manager, but that's all I'll say." So things may be moving forward for the 23-year-old internet sensation, and who knows, we might see him go up against Conor McGregor, and that should be a very...
Wait, how old is Conor McGregor, and this guy's 23?
Yeah, Jake Paul's 23.
It does not matter. It does not matter.
I mean,
I'm sorry. Conor could be 55 at this point.
I mean, hey, you never know, okay? Jake might have it in him, okay?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's just talk about this for a second. Okay?
Let's.
Now, I will give Jake Paul a little bit of credit in that when he had that ridiculous fight with KS1 or whoever the hell that person was.
Yeah.
Again, he went out and he actually took it seriously, and he trained with some real boxing trainers. So when he came into that fight, although it was sloppy, he definitely looked like someone who had trained in boxing, as opposed to the other guy who looked like he was trying to street fight. Now, again, you have, this basketball player who's known for being feisty, who was known for throwing punches on the court occasionally, standing up for his teammates, that kind of stuff. That doesn't mean he knows how to box. And again, apparently Jake took this seriously and trained with real trainers. That's awesome. But again, you've now beaten two people who have no professional fighting experience, and you're going to challenge a guy who was at the top of the fighting game for a long period of time. Now, also a guy who stepped into the boxing ring with Floyd Mayweather and gave him a fight. Now, given even Mayweather said he kind of, took it a little lightly and, probably could have done a little more to finish it earlier. But again, this guy has stepped into a boxing ring with arguably one of the better. I will never say the best. He's one of the most boring
the best
fighters
of this time. The best of this time, I guess.
But he, stepped in there and gave him a fight. He landed some good shots on him, and I guarantee you, Conor McGregor will not take this lightly. Conor McGregor has an ego. Conor MGregor has an attitude. He is not going to. He is not going to let some Instagram star who has nothing really to claim to fame beat him. It's not happening. He might toy with him a little bit, but he will humiliate this guy.
I could just hear Conor McGregor saying, "Shut your mouth." I can still hear him say something like that to Jake Paul. Oh my God. You know what though? I mean, you're right. And I mean, all joking aside, Conor is a professional fighter. Okay, he's a professional MMA fighter. He can do stand-up and ground. I mean, his forte is MMA. That's why when he went up against Floyd Mayweather, he lost. But obviously, we all know why he lost.
Well, yeah, it was a boxing match. I mean,
well, yeah, exactly. I mean,
if it went the other way, I mean, Floyd certainly wasn't going to challenge him in the MMA ring. That would have been about a 30-second fight.
So. Oh yeah, it would have been all. It would almost be like James Toney versus Randy Couture all over again.
Oh yeah,
that was a disaster. But it's one of those things where Jake Paul he needs to understand that just because McGregor is not a boxer, he's an MMA fighter. He's still the word fighter is still there. Okay, Jake Paul, yes, he's trained and this, that, and the other, but he hasn't trained for as long as Conor McGregor has been a fighter, and that's going to be an issue. And if Jake Paul wants it, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it, and I believe Conor McGregor will definitely get the win on this one. I mean, Conor's left hand is nothing to mess around with. He's infamous for that left hand, and that left hand, once it connects, you're done. You're out. There's no way you're gonna get up. So it's going to be definitely something that we're going to be taking a look at. Hopefully that fight happens, because I wouldn't mind seeing that fight, to be honest with you, because I'm not exactly a Jake Paul fan. I'm really not. for the reasons that it seems that he just got into this not because he wanted to, but because he wants, the fame and the fortune. And that's what many people get into at first, but a lot of people get into it because of the sport. And this sport is nothing to joke around with. Like you said, going back to the whole Justin Bieber example that you gave, it's like, just because you think that you can throw hands doesn't mean you know how to throw hands. I mean, there's a big difference between the two. I mean, right. Jeremy, you have been trained. I have been trained. Mm-hmm. And it's very different. It's very different when it comes down to, somebody that's training versus somebody that's just an amateur or thinks that they could fight. It's a big difference.
There is a very big difference there. And there's also a very big difference between those who have been trained and those who have had to use that training, whether it be in sport or otherwise, time and time again. Just being trained does not guarantee you will be able to respond with what you know when you are in a fight or flight situation. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. That's one of the things that makes, modern day Krav Maga and modern day mixed martial arts training so effective, is that they train you in actual fighting and combat situations. I mean, in real Krav Maga, not the joke stuff they're teaching in most places here in the States, but in real Krav Maga, you walk into your studio, there's a very good chance 4 of your fellow students are going to try and beat the living crap out of you.
Very true.
And you have to respond immediately, and it is to breed that fear response out of you. So if you are ever in a real fight, you can respond with your training. There's a very big difference between being trained and having used that training over and over and over.
Yeah, and the thing is that most people that get into training, and they don't last too long, is only because they just got into it just so that way they could go ahead and look for a fight and say that, oh, I've been trained. A real person, mm-hmm. a person that's really like taking this type of sport seriously, they don't look for it to look for a fight. They look for it for self-defense, for protection, right. To make sure that they don't use what they've learned. And that's one of the reasons why I got into it. I got into it for self-defense, just to mm-hmm. make sure I don't use it ever. I'm not a violent person. I would never hurt anybody. And
at least you can defend yourself.
Exactly, because there are going to be people that are looking for fights. And so, and they're bullies. They're people that want to go ahead and show their dominance over another in a bar or anything like that. And you just want to make sure that you know how to respond accordingly. Right. Never look for it. Try to talk your way out of it. That's been something that I've always learned. One of my teachers taught me a long time ago. He said, that person could go ahead and talk shit all they want in their mind. They could beat the crap out of you in their mind. But the moment they put their hands on you, that's a different story. That changes the game. They could say, oh, I'm going to beat you and blah, blah. Let them talk. Because words aren't really hurting you. But the moment they go ahead and they put their hands on you, that's a different story. That's when it gets physical. That's when you have to defend yourself at that point. So, I mean, but this fight that Jake Paul's looking for, that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, Lonni, who would you want to see as a celebrity boxing kind of a exhibition fight charity event? Who would you like to see go one-on-one?
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a good one.
Me and Jeremy.
One-on-one.
Jeremy would kill me.
I'm going to think of two really hot guys. How about Brad Pitt and Shamar Moore?
That's you're just looking.
She just wants to see him with the shirt off.
I was gonna say that. That's the only reason why she wants him to fight. We can see through you, Lonni. We can see through you. Just want to see the six pack.
Have like really nice faces, so I would like to see how they definitely protect their mugs.
Oh my God! Jeez, I can't. I like her. I can't with her. I can't with you, Lonni. I quit. I'm done. Oh my God. Well, On that note, coming up next in video game news, it looks like the Xbox Series S actually can play PS2 games. We'll talk a little bit about that and why is that happening. Again, we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, here is Zakaeda Lovers right here on the Xander Effect.
Hey guys, this is Ian Darren.
Hey, this is Annalise Hoveda.
Hey yo, this is Nightmare from Dirty Machine.
Hi, this is Cambry Lovesey.
Hey, this is Dovely.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening to the Xander Effect.
We had driven
Yo, what up? This is AB.
Hey guys, this is Sean Kanan.
What's going on? It's Amanda Holly.
Hey, Jeremy Miller from Growing Pains here.
This is Maxim Model Riley Sawyer. And you're listening. And you're listening. And you're listening to the Xander Effect.
Fonsi, Qwes. Oh, oh no, oh no. Oh, hey. Go. Sí, sabes que ya llevo un rato mirándote. Tengo que bailar contigo hoy. Qwes. Vi que tu mirada ya estaba llamándome. Muéstrame el camino que yo voy. Oh, tú eres el imán y yo soy el metal. Me voy acercando y voy armando el plan. Solo con pensarlo se acelera el pulso. Oh yeah, ya me está gustando más de lo normal. Todos mis sentidos van pidiendo más. Esto hay que tomarlo sin ningún apuro. Despacito, quiero respirar tu cuello despacito. Deja que te diga cosas al oído, para que te acuerdes si no estás conmigo. Despacito, quiero desnudarte a besos despacito. Firma en las paredes de tu laberinto y hacer de tu cuerpo todo un manuscrito. Sube, 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 sube. Quiero ver bailar tu pelo, quiero ser tu ritmo. Que le enseñes a mi boca tus lugares favoritos. Favorito, favorito, baby. Déjame sobrepasar tus zonas de peligro hasta provocar tus gritos y que olvides tu apellido. Si te pido un beso, ven dámelo. Yo sé que estás pensándolo. Llevo tiempo intentándolo. Mami, estoy dando y dándolo. Sabes que tu corazón conmigo te hace bam bam. Sabes que esa beba está buscando de mi bam bam. Me pruebas de mi boca para ver cómo te sabe. Quiero ver cuánto amor a ti te cabe. Yo no tengo prisa, yo me quiero dar el viaje. Empezamos lento, después salvaje. Pasito a pasito, suave, suavecito. Nos vamos pegando poquito a poquito. Cuando tú me besas con esa destreza, veo que eres malicia con delicadeza. Pasito a pasito, suave, suavecito. Nos vamos pegando poquito a poquito. Y es que esa belleza es un rompecabezas, pero para montarlo aquí tengo la pieza. Oye, despacito, quiero respirar tu cuello despacito. Deja que te diga cosas al oído, para que te acuerdes si no estás conmigo. Despacito, quiero desnudarte a besos despacito. Firma en las paredes de tu laberinto y hacer de tu cuerpo todo un manuscrito. Sube, 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 sube. Quiero ver bailar tu pelo, quiero ser tu ritmo. Que le enseñes a mi boca tus lugares favoritos. Favorito, favorito, baby. Déjame sobrepasar tus zonas de peligro hasta provocar tus gritos y que olvides tu apellido. Despacito, vamos a hacerlo en una playa en Puerto Rico, hasta que las olas griten ay bendito, para que mi sello se quede contigo. Pasito a pasito, suave, suavecito, lo vamos pegando poquito a poquito. Enseñas a mi boca tus lugares favoritos. Favorito, favorito. Pasito a pasito, suave, suavecito, lo vamos pegando poquito a poquito. Hasta provocar tus gritos y que olvides tu apellido. Despacito.
That was Luis Fonsi featuring Daddy Yankee's Despacito right here on the Xander Effect. In video game news, the Xbox Series S can actually play PS2 games. And the question is, why? This is something that many people are asking, but apparently it might be some sort of a system. Like they went ahead and it wasn't on purpose that they did this, according to what Microsoft is saying. It's just saying that it's some sort of a loophole that a gamer found coincidentally enough, on the Series X and S's developer mode, and it lets users boot a variety of emulators, including the ones that support PS2, Dreamcast, GameCube, and Wii games. So it's not just the PS2; it's also those other platforms as well. And you could play old games like God of War, Metal Gear Solid 2, Silent Hill 2, and a lot of other games. And it doesn't seem like Microsoft did it on purpose. It just seems that that's just so happened to be a part of what's going on, especially since right now PlayStation 5 is somewhat backwards compatible, but not completely. They could only play PS4 and PS3 games right now through PlayStation systems. Now, my curiosity here is this some marketing ploy? Is this some sort of a sabotage marketing ploy that Microsoft came up with in order to screw with PlayStation a little bit? They say that they didn't do it on purpose. They say that it's just something that happens to be a part of the system. But I don't know. I mean, deep down inside, it just seems a little shady to me that they would go ahead and integrate that type of software into their systems in order to be able to play PS2 games along with all these other platforms. It just sounds really, really shady to me. I mean, Jeremy, what do you think? I mean, do you think if this is some sort of a marketing ploy or maybe some way to sabotage PlayStation?
I think you can never put it past either of these companies to do something underhanded against the other. So that's certainly not out of the question. But it's also, I mean, I don't know programming. I'm not, the most tech savvy when it comes to the inner workings of the, platforms, but, perhaps the base that they needed to use to get their older games working left some loophole for, PlayStation to be able to work on it. Maybe because back then, even though they were different platforms, the games were programmed more similarly or something. Who knows?
I don't know.
Me hearing about it from a practical standpoint, you guys, I'm not a gamer, but it's a twofer, right? So you can play two kind of games and with one device. That's great.
I was actually gonna touch on that point right now, Lonni. Thank you for bringing that up, because I was gonna touch on that point. The fact of the matter that this is definitely an extra that many people that are both PlayStation and Xbox gamers can actually use. They can be like, hey, I could play PlayStation games on Xbox now. That's freaking awesome. And they're gonna see that. I mean, hell, I have a couple of games from PlayStation 2 that I would love to go ahead and play on the Xbox, or play, or games that are strictly for Sony that can't be put on the Xbox that now you could do. So I don't know. It's crazy because, and it seems like this particular software or whatever it's in the system is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's not something that they're going to take out or they're going to patch or anything like that. It seems like it's going to stay exactly where it's at, which begs the question. I mean, is this going to also affect the pockets of Sony, or even the pockets of Microsoft? Because I mean, people are going to go ahead and buy games that are strictly for Sony to play on the Xbox. There are some people are like me. I already have certain games from PlayStation 2 that I can play. That now that I heard this, I'm like, oh, I can play this on Xbox. That's awesome, or on the Xbox Series X. That's awesome. I could go ahead and do that. So it's one of those things where, is it going to hurt their pocketbooks at all? They may be looking at it from the term of, oh, hey, this is another little perk that the Xbox Series X and S have now. You could go ahead and play these games from PlayStation 2 on here. So it's going to be, I don't know. It's a very. The other question is the legal ramifications. Can Sony sue Xbox for something like this, for kind of tapping into their system, or is this even a legal loophole that they can get away with? I mean, I don't know. Lonni, what do you think? Do you think that Sony could sue for a loophole such as this?
Hey, you know what? Nowadays in this culture that litigious is it? I always have a hard time with this word. Litigious culture that we have. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if they found some lawyer who could argue that they now could have a lawsuit because it's affecting their ability to draw sales or something. I don't know.
True. That's crazy. And I mean, Jeremy, what do you think? You think they might be able to get sued for this?
I think it's always possible. I mean, you can always find a lawyer who's willing to sue for just about anything.
Right.
I'll leave that alone for current circumstances as well. But
gee, I wonder where you were going with that one.
As is obviously playing out. But the truth is, most of these games, although they are PlayStation games, most of the licenses are old. Most of them were developed for both Xbox and PlayStation, so I think it would limit the scope of a suit and what they would be able to actually go after. But who knows? I mean, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm certainly not tech savvy when it comes to programming.
And technically, this is a loophole. This is a system that's already been integrated into these next gen consoles. So it's not like something that they planned on happening. And this is actually something that was discovered by a gamer. It wasn't something that I mean, so far as I know, it seems like Xbox didn't even know that you could do this. This is something completely new to even them. They were like, we didn't know this could happen, but okay, if it does, great. If you could do it, great. But I mean, the other question also begs the question, how well do these games play? I mean, first of all, they're old games. Secondly, they're on a different system. So how well are the graphics? How well do they play? Do they crash? I mean, these are still questions that haven't really been answered yet either. So I guess I don't know. But so far, it seems like these games are playable. How good are they playable? We just have to find out, I guess. That's the news. In case you haven't heard it, thank you so much for joining us here on the Xander Effect. I appreciate everybody listening in. I'd like to go ahead and first thank the wonderful Jeremy Miller. Thank you so much, buddy, for being on here. Much love.
Always a pleasure talking with Lonni.
Wow. I say much love, and he says always a pleasure talking with Lonni. That's fantastic. I'll always remember that. It hurts. I'm hurting here, as you can tell. And of course, our lovely hostesses with the mostesses, Miss Lonni Rivera. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Great to be here. Thanks, guys.
Enjoy your wonderful game that's finally going to air. Actually, it's already airing right now. Please.
Oh, is it on?
I believe
have
so.
Lots to talk about on Friday.
There you go. I mean, hopefully they'll win, which of course it's an easy freaking win. Got the Ravens with the Skeleton Crew, so duh. Another easy win for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's evil.
The Pittsburgh Steelers were very aptly named Steel.
Whatever.
They're going to be stealing that game. But anyways, again, thanks everybody for listening in. Remember, we are still in a pandemic. Unfortunately, numbers are spiking like crazy. Please remember to always wear your mask out there. We're in a pandemic, so watch yourselves. Make sure you watch each other's backs for not just yourselves, but for your loved ones who may be immunocompromised. Make sure that everybody is taken care of. Make sure you wash your hands, practice basic hygiene. Don't touch your face. If you go out, make sure you got gloves if you got them, goggles if you got them, to watch yourselves from the current pandemic. And remember, music always, always heals all. We'll see you next time.
Yo, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, open that mouth. Sure that she's talking, we open that mouth. If it says something, we open it out. And then there's something it out. And then it's got it, it's part of this something we got it. Something that that's what we got it. And then we done it, we go loud. And then say something, we open it out.
The Xander Effect is powered by 50/50 Global Music Inc., Sony Music The Orchard, and Bertelsmann. In association with Art 19 Media.